Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to be the moderator of an important panel entitled Unlocking Clean Energy Growth in Emerging Southeast Europe. I must say that I'm very happy to contribute again to this emblematic energy forum, which has now become an institution. Congratulations. We're looking forward to many happy returns, Mr. President. And what I would like to say is that I'm happy that I find myself in a Romanian context with a strong presence from Moldova, the lady sitting in the middle. It is a country that I like a lot. I have been covering Romania in my capacity as a manager in the European Commission in DG Environment, and I had a great cooperation with them. I am very happy that Romania is becoming more and more important. It has a key role in the region. And of course, in the future, as it has been mentioned, it will have a pivotal role in the vertical axis, starting from the Aegean, going from Greece to Bulgaria, to Romania, Moldova, and then Ukraine. Very important for the reconstruction of Ukraine, a very big challenge for all of us. More than 3 trillion are at stake, and in that respect, the energy needs will increase more and more in the region. So this is a real opportunity to highlight the role of Romania and Moldova in the region in connection to the other countries, as all 3 countries, Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania, are member states of the European Union as regards the vertical axis. And on the other side, we have Croatia and Slovenia, let's say, involved in the so-called horizontal axis. Let me share a few considerations with you before giving the floor to the prominent speakers. It is true that the region faces huge challenges, but has also a huge potential that we can unlock in terms of renewable energy sources. Solar, wind, hydropower, geothermy, biomass are huge possibilities, combined with green hydrogen that we can develop with the corridors which can link the south to the central Europe and also to the north, and in that respect create a network of pipelines which will be dual pipelines using both gas and hydrogen in the future. What are the challenges? And of course, what are the needs to develop further renewable energy sources? We need to increase and strengthen the grid. We need a common grid in the region which can accommodate the needs of all the countries and the surplus of renewable energy sources, energy which will be produced in particular in Greece. We need the storage capacity, extremely important as well. We need cooperation between our countries. We need to have a common narrative. We need to have a cooperation spirit and to have one voice vis-à-vis the European Union, especially in this period where we will have a financial scarcity, especially for the next programming period, and where we will need to increase the amounts of CEF to support the TEN-E, the Trans-European Networks of Energy. It is extremely important to have additional funds to promote projects of common interest and of projects of mutual interest in the region, which will connect our countries in terms of grids, in terms of common green hydrogen and other renewable energy sources projects. And of course, another consideration, we need to build social acceptance. Social acceptance is extremely important to develop renewables. In our countries, we see a lot of opposition. The not in my backyard syndrome, which was very common as regards waste management, is now becoming something very common against wind and solar. We need to build social acceptance and, of course, to create a narrative to face this problem that our societies are facing. Two last very short points. Greece is becoming a green, clean energy hub thanks to the GREGI project, which will bring from Egypt green energy through an undersea cable to the mainland, and this green energy can therefore be transferred through the grid and through the networks to the other countries of the European Union. And the other important project is the Great Sea Interconnector, which will connect Cyprus to Greece and Cyprus to Israel, a two-way interconnector, electricity interconnector, which will also have the ambition to bring green energy to the EU, but also to provide Cyprus and Israel with green energy. I would like now to move to our speakers, starting from Claudiu Cretu on my left. He's the Director General of ELSEN, which is the electricity and
district heating.
Thermal district heating company of Bucharest, a very, very important one. I have seen that you are developing two very important cogeneration plants. And before introducing the other speakers, I would like to give you the floor for a first tour de table of 2 to 3 minutes, just to give us your first, let's say, ideas about this panel.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for this wonderful event. The company that I represent runs 4 CHP plants, which means 500 electric megawatts and 1,000 thermal megawatts. The district heating system of Bucharest is the second largest on the entire planet after Moscow. It's a huge, very huge system. And the challenge we face right now is to make this transition to a more efficient system, to a more green system. So in this moment, we have investments on working process. We have finance for modernizing 3 CHP plants. They will be hydrogen ready, and they will be best available technique, the last technology. But meanwhile, we are studying, and we want to develop projects regarding implementing green technology, renewable technology, using heat pumps, using geothermal energy, and why not, we are also trying to develop waste to energy, because unfortunately we don't have yet in Bucharest waste to energy, and our capital, it's growing every day. Maybe 4 million people are living in this city, and waste to energy could be a great potential. But till then, we are trying to be more efficient every day, because, as you said, social acceptance is very important. So we are trying to satisfy the needs of the city, the needs of the growing city. We want to enhance our system and to have more customers. So the key word that you used is unlocking. Yes, we are in the moment to unlock the potential of modernizing and making this system more efficient.
Thank you very much. We will come back for the second round. I would like now to give the floor to Marcela Lefter, who is the CEO and founder of Sedera Group for Romania and Moldova. She's also the president of Women in Energy, extremely important as a driving force in Moldova, and the chair of the Green Transition Committee of AmSham Moldova. The floor is yours. I believe you will give us also the green dimension that Claudiu has referred to, but also what are your considerations about this important topic?
Thank you very much. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for this wonderful event, and congratulations for the organizers. So even we are acting for both markets, Romania and Moldova. Today I will bring the perspective from Moldova, because for Romania market we have already distinguished guest speakers here in the panel. So I'm representing Sedera Group. It's developing, we are doing the development of large-scale renewable projects, both in Romania and Moldova. As you mentioned, in AmCham, we are, as the chair of Energy Transition Committee, we are advocating for better legal framework, because what we need in from our perspective to build new capacities in generating capacities, we need bankable and predictable legal framework, so for which we are advocating and for which we are fighting. So the perspective of Moldova energy sector, just to have a short description, is something about vulnerability and resilience. And all of us, we already know how energy is used as a weapon starting the war in Ukraine. But we in Moldova knew how it was during decades, because always was used this weapon against us, was changed governments and so on. So we had to not just to mitigate, to be resilient, how to fight in all this war with this energy weapon against us. So now what is happening in Moldova? So we still have dependence, deep dependence on imported fuels, so Russian gas or other gas that we have to import, and oil products as well. So we have big shocks on the prices, because we have to adapt our tariffs for our end consumers according to international prices, and it's very challenging for authorities. But in the same time, we have a lot of opportunities that it means we can build our own capacities. We are doing this energy transition just because we need energy security. So this, I think, was the first element that pushed to move in the energy transition goals. Of course, what is important, that finally we have a very strong political will to cut the dependence of the Russian gas, to go towards EU integration, and of course climate neutrality. So the potential of the country is quite good, saying for the technologies like solar, wind and biomass. We are seeing for the last 3 years an increasing megawatts of capacities, especially in solar. Of course, to unlock more capacities in the country, we still need not just to replace, because if in other country we are talking about to replace fossil fuels power plants into green, so in Moldova we are talking to build capacities, because we have a huge lack of capacities in generation. So, and this is, to unlock this, we need legal framework in order to attract private capital, international investors, and of course the grid. Grid is very outdated in Moldova. We need investments to strengthen the grid, to modernize the grid. Interconnections are, I think, the most important point, because the country is not interconnected. And now we need the interconnections with Romania is the lifeline for our economy. And hope in the end of this year we will have first line that somehow will ensure the interconnection that will avoid Transnistria region. So we have a lot of challenges how to address. We have a lot of potential, and we are committed to do it.
Thank you very much, Marcela. Indeed, the energy transition for Moldova is extremely important to speed up your accession process in terms of implementing the acquis, the energy and the environmental acquis of the European Union, which is also a conditionality for EU financing. We will come back to this. Without ado, I would like to give the floor now to Dan Stratan, who is the CEO of RCI Holding Romania, who has a short PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Mr. Kremli said, we are a player in the critical infrastructure markets. We are working currently in 18 countries. It's a very pleasant feeling to hear the people who are on this panel, because we happen to be involved in most of the investment programs of these countries. Elcen and Mr. Crețu is one of our main clients. We have prepared the applications, EU funding applications, for all the three production CHPs that he's planning to develop. We are also bringing co-financing, banking co-financing for him, and we are also owner's engineering services in one of the plants, that the biggest one actually, which is called CET Sud. In Moldova, we are also very much linked to the growth plan and to the preconditions, but we'll come back to that. What is important is that we are assisting about more than 25 billion euros in CapEx. And as you see, we have quite a wide regional spread. A very simple one-stop shop concept in which we try to put together all our capabilities, which we have in-house, from regulatory to technology to business strategies and to implementation under ESG sustainability rules. We have a 3 horizons strategy, which includes investments in technology companies, which we call revolutionary or disruptive. So from this point of view, we are invested heavily in AI-driven technologies for energy mostly. These are very quickly our 6 pillars, or 5 and a basis. As I said, we are providers of EU funding as services, as well as co-financing projects. But we also work with very large infrastructure funds or venture capital funds or private equity funds to bring financing. We are consulting engineers. We have a backlog of more than 150 million euros in design and supervision services. In energy, one of our main activity is balancing, and we are balancing in nominal terms more than 80% of the imbalances of the Romanian market, and more than 86% of the renewables in Romania. We are also providing aggregation services, combining production with storage and demand response consumers. And we also bring technology to critical infrastructure companies. I'm talking about SAP solutions, Salesforce solutions, and so on. Management consulting wise, we are strategy consultants, and we are also ESG advisors, M&A transaction. A lot of experience in defense as well, and as you know, that this is somehow very much linked to the critical infrastructures which will be developed in our region. Very quickly, what needs to be done, other than what Mr. Kremlis said very rightly so, which is a common strategy for the region, is a predictable framework in regulatory matters. By the way, we were at the very initiative when the directive of security of supply on gas was issued by the EU. We have done the first Troika, the Romanian, the Bulgarian, and the Greek regulators meetings. Last one was here in Athens that we have organized ourselves. And then de-risking mechanisms to attract capital, because capital flow is a problem for the region. Definitely, you know, integration is very important, and I will come back hopefully a little bit later, if you'll allow me, on what I believe to be the lack of coordination and the big stress on networks that you mentioned, Mr. Kremlis, because all the flexibility services, all the, let's say, appearance, which is a little bit, you know, hectic, of renewables connected to the grid, is putting in danger the grid and the operators of the grid. So for us, we are very, very much concerned. We also believe, and this is a very special case, I will not insist, but one of the important players which is completely ignored today in balancing of the grid, in flexibility services, and in aggregation are the data centers. And this is, as you know, about 20 to 25% of the whole worldwide consumption in 5 to 10 years from now will be data centers. So this is something that we are working with specific technology providers. We have our own technology, which we are deploying. We have deployed it in China for Alibaba. We have deployed it in Canada for Meta. And we are happy to, you know, to talk to any kind of developer who would like to have this combination, I would say, of aggregation solutions joined with cooling technology that we are promoting with one of our partners, which, by the way, is based in Eastern Europe. So we think that bringing technology is a very important thing and I think the future is certainly about energy management rather than physical asset management only. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. It is obvious that your know-how and expertise is very useful, not only for Romania and Moldova, but I would say for the region. And I hope that thanks to this panel, we can also develop ideas. I mean, a first idea that I have, and I would like to have your views on it, is can we develop a hydrogen corridor for the region? I mean, from Greece to Bulgaria, Romania, hopefully to Moldova, up to Ukraine. And my second question is, we need to strengthen the grid in Moldova. This is very clear, and the connections with Romania and also to the south. But what will happen as Transnistria is a barrier and Moldova is a bridge from Romania and from the vertical axis to Ukraine? So I understood that there are possibilities to overcome Transnistria, but I mean, an idea could be, is it possible to take them on board? And then a last question, Claudiu has referred to waste to energy. It is true that Romania still faces a waste management problem. You have a lot of waste produced. Waste to energy is an energy resource, and Of course, it can also be used when it comes to food waste for production of biomass, through biomass of biofuels. That is very important. So, three questions. The last one is more for.
I will volunteer for the hydrogen. Maybe
Okay, okay.
we take
So,
it.
so we take it the other
Yeah,
way
the other
around.
way.
So then we'll
Yes,
start with the
yes.
hydrogen.
Thank you. Hydrogen. First of all, we have quite an experience on hydrogen because we have prepared a number of applications for hydrogen, and I'm not talking only about production. I'm talking also about networks. So we have done two successful EU funding applications. One for E.ON in Romania, Delgaz is called the distribution company, 20% hydrogen for the networks in a pilot project. And we have done another project, 100% hydrogen ready networks for ENGIE in Romania. So we have some kind of understanding, technical, and also I just had a conversation with the CEO of Transgaz, which is the TSO from Romania, who was visiting, I guess, the conference. And at the name hydrogen, he spontaneously said, "Forget about it. This doesn't exist anymore." If you talk to some of the players, major players, including the biggest player in Greece, they don't believe in the fact that hydrogen yet is commercially viable. So to produce it, to transport it, and then to consume it, apparently there is no financial support yet. So I think it's just a matter of the support schemes and the subsidies that this technology may enjoy. Otherwise, I don't think that there is a strong enough incentive for the full value chain to be developed for hydrogen right now. It's possibly to be a fuel of the future, but now I think the biggest players are rather looking at other alternatives rather than hydrogen.
Yes, we have been saying the same thing for other initiatives.
Yes.
I mean, one needs to try, and my idea would be, in addition to initiatives that have been developed within our member states, and you are there for Romania, whether we could develop a PCI, a project of common interest, mutual interest as regards Ukraine and Moldova, for the time being, as they are not member states of the EU, to test this and have Connecting Europe facility providing EU financing for it. Moreover, we have the hydrogen bank. There is a political will at the European Union level, so we need to push this will to become more concrete. But before you reply to this, I'll give the floor to Marcela, because, and then I'll come back to you. I hope we will have a third round of 1 minute. Marcela, the floor is yours.
Obvious, Moldova is not creating a strategy how to produce hydrogen. Will be just for transition for corridors between Ukraine and EU, or EU, Southeast Europe, as you mentioned, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, because all these countries with access to water and cheap green electricity are building their strategies how to produce hydrogen and how to transport it, and how to use the existing pipelines. Of course, coming back to your question, how to cross Transnistria in this corridor of hydrogen, our, how to say, political strategy is that one day Transnistria will be our legal part, because it's our country. As was in the previous panel, was shown the map, so we see the existing infrastructure is crossing Transnistria. Of course, if using the existing infrastructure, we have to consider this region, or we can avoid it in case of building another infrastructure, but it's very costly and without incentives, how Mr. Stratan said, so will not be possible to continue.
I mean, just to say that for green hydrogen, as you have mentioned, water is extremely important. The Danube is there. and the Black Sea is there in terms of desalination processes, which of course have to use renewable energy sources to be acceptable and eligible for financing under the taxonomy regulation. And the big challenge for Moldova, I guess for Romania too, is the implementation, the transposition of the RED III directive, which needs to be transposed because this is a directive with more ambitious renewable energy sources targets. Now, we go to Claudiu.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to react on all these things and say 2 words on waste to energy.
Of course. Waste to energy, in my opinion, for social acceptance, the solution would be gasification, so biogas and so on. Because the idea of incineration, of burning waste, is not acceptable from environmental issues. So that's why technologies that are complex and that preserve the environment could be taken into consideration, and in the future this will be a solution. And I want to say something more. It's very important in the next years, in order to be efficient, to take into consideration any resource. And Mr. Stratan said something about data centers. Yes, we want to recover the heat from the data centers in order to put it, to absorb it, and to put it in the district heating systems. So every thermal megawatt that we could recover, it's very important, and it will mean competitivity and will mean cheaper product.
Thank you. So, 3 minutes left, 1 minute each to conclude, starting again from Dan.
Thank you very much. I only want to insist on what I believe to be the priorities for this region. First of all, is to have a common strategy, because what I see today is a very hectic development of capacities in all of our countries. Moreover, we have a lot of interconnections planned. You mentioned, or it was mentioned in the panel before, GREDI, and it was mentioned the Cyprus-Israel, but you know that there is Azerbaijan, Georgia, Romania, Hungary, there's Romania-Hungary. So all this green energy will go to what kind of consumption? Which is the consumption? Because, you know, in Romania, we had moments when we had only 3 giga of, and we have only in hydro 6 giga of production. So this is a question. Plus, you know, Bulgaria has nuclear, we have nuclear. So baseload is, you know, quite well, let's say, and we have also CCGTs and CHPs. The second topic I'm worried about is the lack of educated workforce, because there is an aging workforce. And I mentioned this before, 30 to 40,000 experts or people are needed only in Romania in the next 5 years to replace the existing aging workforce. And the third thing, which is, I would say, critical for moving on to new technologies, is access to capital. In our part of the world, there is no, you know, venture capital or CVC, corporate venture capital funds, because, you know, big companies like, I don't know, let's look at Greece, like PPC, like Metlen, like other important players, they could support jointly with important, you know, private or state-owned, by the way, companies in this. We have the example of Verbund in Austria, and I will finish with this.
Thank you very much, Dan. Claudiu, and the final word for Marcela.
Okay, I've been speaking a lot about district heating in Bucharest, and I want to say some words about heating in Romania. More than half of the energy in Romania is consumed by heating. So it's a huge potential.
And cooling or heating?
Heating and cooling, but especially heating, because we are in northern than Greece and Bulgaria. So there is a huge potential in order to make all the methods for heating or the technologies more efficient. Not only these three heating systems, but all the other heating, and I say, for example, huge pumps, heat pumps. Yeah. So it's a huge potential in order to be more efficient, and that's why we are trying to understand all the technologies. And for Bucharest, it's not about how the system will be gas or will be geothermal. No, the system must be flexible. The system must absorb different technologies, different resources, and to be in competition and to use the most efficient one.
I would say the system needs to be smart and green.
Right.
Yes. Marcella, the last word.
For the last 10, 15 years, we saw a lot of capacities already built. So now we are not talking about how to build more, but how to do our grid more resilient. So we already face the pressure on the grids, on all our national systems. So it's viable now how to do this strengthening of the grid, to modernize the grid, to add more storage, to have the possibility to accommodate all the renewables project already ongoing, and of course interconnectors, because it's need to move this electricity across the borders, to move it in the right place where the consume exists, and I hope so that the consumption in Europe will increase once the electrification will increase the demand of electricity in the region and in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the speakers for their excellent contributions and conclude by saying that more cooperation between us in the region is needed, exchange of best practice, and of course, the development of more projects of common interest that can be supported by the EU, and of course, a common voice vis-à-vis the EU to strengthen our position and support our needs in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you.